The government of the United Kingdom is collapsing. Not from an outside threat. Not from an election. But from within. Eaten alive by its own radical factions, in full view of a stunned and betrayed public. Today, Keir Starmer was supposed to unveil a crackdown on illegal immigration. A moment of strength, meticulously timed for the morning news cycle. Instead, it has triggered a catastrophic meltdown, exposing him not as a leader, but as a prisoner in his own party. A prime minister held hostage in number 10 by a cabal of open-border fanatics who despise this country and its people. And as daggers are drawn in the Westminster bubble, the gates of Britain are left undefended, swinging open on broken hinges. The question is no longer if the system will fail. The question is, who is deliberately making it fail? The mainstream media will tell you this is a simple party spat. A bit of internal drama. They will show you sanitized clips of angry backbenchers, frame it as a procedural left versus right squabble, and then dutifully move on. They will call it teething problems for a new government. They are lying. Or, at best, they are willfully blind, trapped in the same ideological echo chamber as the politicians they are meant to scrutinize. Understand this: what you are witnessing is not a disagreement. It is a mutiny. A slow-motion coup by a radical fifth column embedded deep inside the Labour Party, which now finds itself, terrifyingly, in government. Their goal is not to reform the asylum system. Their goal is to have no system at all. Their ambition is a post-national Britain, its borders erased, its identity dissolved, its history rewritten. A permanent, irreversible state of managed chaos, from which they believe a new, compliant electorate can be forged. For weeks, Starmer has been posturing. Posing for cameras in high-vis jackets, using tough language he learned from a focus group in a sterile office in Southwark. He promised to be ruthless. He promised to get a grip. He promised major new powers and a new security command. But it was all a charade. A cheap, transparent performance for voters he and his metropolitan clique hold in utter contempt. Because behind the scenes, the real power in his party was sharpening its knives. Figures like Clive Lewis, John McDonnell, Sara Sultana, Rachel Maskell. These aren't just MPs. They are professional activists masquerading as politicians, coordinating their attacks on social media, creating a digital lynch mob to terrify any moderate who dares to speak out. For them, a secure border is not a sign of a healthy nation, it is a moral crime. They see the Union flag and they sneer. They hear the word patriotism and they physically recoil. They look at the thousands of undocumented men of fighting age crossing the Channel and they don't see a national security crisis. They see constituents. They see allies in their relentless project to dismantle this country from the inside. And so, as Starmer prepared to announce his plan, a pathetically weak plan, but a plan nonetheless, the mutiny began. His own MPs, people on his payroll, took to the airwaves and social media to publicly denounce and humiliate him. They called his proposals wrong, divisive, an attack on fundamental human rights. One MP, Nadia Whitcomb, had already branded the Danish-style model he wants to copy as racist. They are not trying to improve the policy. They are trying to kill it. They are sending a message, not just to Starmer, but to the entire country: we are in charge now. Your concerns do not matter. Your desire for security is bigotry. Your country is not your own. And the Prime Minister? He is silent. Paralyzed. Cowering in his office, his phone ringing with demands from his own side. Because he knows he is their captive. He made a deal with the devil to get into power, and now the devil has come to collect his soul, piece by agonizing piece. This is the great betrayal. This is the two-tier system made flesh and bone. While the pampered ideologues of the Labour left sit in their leafy London constituencies, insulated from the consequences of their fanaticism, ordinary Britons are living in a different, harsher reality. Think of the pensioner in a coastal town in Kent, who now feels like a stranger in her own home. She sees her local hotel, once a source of pride and tourism, now a taxpayer-funded barracks, its windows blacked out, guarded by private security she pays for. She hears shouts in foreign tongues late at night and feels a cold dread the politicians tell her is irrational. They call her a racist for feeling it. They tell her she is hateful for wanting her community back. But she is not hateful. She is terrified. And she is utterly, completely ignored. She remembers a time when her street was safe, when her town was hers. Now, she feels like a ghost in her own life. Think of the young family in a northern city, stuck on a housing waiting list for 7 years. They both work 40-hour weeks. They pay their taxes. They play by the rules. But every week, they see the resources of their town stretched thinner and thinner to cope with an unvetted, uncontrolled influx, costing the taxpayer billions upon billions. They get a letter saying there are no school places for their daughter at the local primary. They wait 3 weeks for a GP appointment that used to take 3 days. They see their council tax rise, again, to pay for services they can no longer access. And then they turn on the television and see a Labour MP telling them that any attempt to control the border is dehumanizing. Who is being dehumanized here? The economic migrant who paid a criminal gang to ferry him across the world's safest shipping lane? Or the British taxpayer forced to fund their own displacement and the slow, painful decay of their own community? Think of the former Royal Marine Sergeant from Hull, working security at a supermarket for just above minimum wage. He sees the flag he served under, the flag his friends died for in the dust of Helmand, being treated with contempt by the very government meant to uphold it. He sees the nation's security, the very thing he dedicated his life to, being auctioned off by ideologues who have never known a day of hardship or a moment of genuine peril. His service feels meaningless. His sacrifice feels betrayed. He wonders what it was all for, fighting enemies abroad, only to see the gates thrown open to any and all by enemies within. And that was only the beginning of the decay. Because the weakness at the top sends a signal to the entire machine. Insiders are now warning that even if Starmer somehow gets this watered-down policy past his own mutinous backbenchers, the civil service, infested with the same activist mindset, will never implement it. The blob. They will use every trick in the book. Every legal challenge from taxpayer-funded campaign groups and human rights law firms making millions from legal aid. Every bureaucratic delay, every appeal to the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg, a foreign court we have no obligation to obey. They will grind the system to a halt, just as they have for the last decade. Because the permanent state agrees with the Labour left. They believe in open borders. And your vote means nothing to them. In the middle of this chaos stands Keir Starmer. Sir Keir. Knight of the realm. The great hope of the establishment. And he has been utterly, comprehensively broken. A hollow man, a talking puppet propped up by focus groups and spin doctors, his strings pulled by fanatics he is too weak to confront. He is so terrified of his own party that his rivals are no longer even hiding their ambition. Sources in Westminster claim Angela Rayner is already on manoeuvres, secretly canvassing MPs, promising cabinet positions in a future government. Her government. She can smell the blood in the water, positioning herself as the authentic voice of the left, ready to plunge the final dagger. Wes Streeting is plotting. Andy Burnham is waiting in the wings in Manchester, measuring the curtains for number 10. The Labour Party is not a government, it is a nest of vipers, each one looking to sink their fangs into the dying leader. They are not concerned with the fate of the nation. They are fighting over the spoils of a collapsing regime. But while the Westminster bubble consumes itself with its own sordid power games, something else is happening. Out in the real world. In the towns and villages that they ignore. A quiet anger is hardening into cold fury. The British people are waking up. They were promised control of their borders. They were promised an end to the chaos. The Tories betrayed them for 14 years. And now Labour is revealing its true face in a matter of weeks, a party held hostage by extremists who want to erase the very idea of Britain. There is only one voice that has been consistent. One man who warned this would happen. Nigel Farage. While the establishment and their media mouthpieces called him a fool and a fearmonger, he told the truth. He said that the two-party system was broken beyond repair. He said that both Labour and the Tories were addicted to mass immigration. He said that only a political insurgency, powered by the people, could save this country. And every day, he is being proven right. The rise of Reform UK is not a protest vote. It is a rescue mission. It is the silent majority finally finding its voice, and roaring its defiance against an elite that hates them. So as you watch the pathetic spectacle of a Prime Minister being torn apart by his own party, do not despair. See it for what it is. The death rattle of a corrupt, decaying political class that has sold this country out for decades. Their lies are unraveling. Their weakness is exposed for all to see. The choice before us has never been clearer. Who do you trust to defend these shores? The compromised puppet in Downing Street, begging his own mutinous MPs for permission to act? Or the patriotic movement that has been fighting for this nation's sovereignty all along? Who do you believe speaks for you? The sanctimonious activist in Parliament calling you a bigot for wanting your country back, or the millions of your fellow countrymen who simply want a safe, secure, and sovereign home? If you refuse to let them destroy our country through their weakness and their ideology, share this video. If you believe the great betrayal must end, and the fight back must begin, subscribe to this channel. Let them hear us. Let the entire rotten establishment know that their time is up. The British people are coming to take their country back.